Welcome, everyone. Today it's Mad, and we're going to talk about Dynamax Raikou and weekend March 15th through the 16th. Stay tuned. All right, for the Dynamax Raikou weekend event, we have a little bit more than just a couple of hours like the legendary birds. It will be a whole weekend, and if we're lucky, we could get a shiny one. But we do have timed research, and the timed research is actually kind of nice. I'm trying to get this out once I saw the timed research, which is the exact same as the legendary birds, except this time they're giving us more Stardust than anything else. So for the weekend, the goal is to complete the research, and hopefully you will be watching this in time, where you want to hold on to the max points that are awarded until Friday night your time, or Saturday, depending on when you're planning on doing the weekend event, so that you could stock up on points so that you could do as many of these Dynamax battles for free if possible. And for me, I'm going to do this Friday night. Hopefully, if I do this correctly, I should be able to get around 2,000 to begin with. And then with that, we will also be getting max particle collection limited increased to 1,600. We have 1/4 the adventuring distance to receive max particles, so it would be every 0.5 kilometers. Power spots will refresh more frequently. I'm guessing it's every 30 minutes, like we saw with the max battle weekend last weekend. And we'll get 8 times max particle from power spots. So with that, we should be able to get between, let's see, if you follow what I just stated, about 5 or 6 free on Saturday, and then another 2 to possibly 3 on Sunday. And on top of that, the following bonus will be active from currently now to 16th, where we'll get 3/4 max particle cost for unlocking and powering up max moves. So that will be helpful, as one of them is doing 3 max move power ups and a unlocking. And so reducing the cost is kind of important overall, especially if you do not have the units that you desperately need for Raikou. So let's go ahead and explain what Raikou is. Dynamax Raikou is definitely going to be one of the harder ones that we faced, as it has got a good attack along with good defense and high stamina. It only takes increased damage from ground, which greatly limits what we can actually use to deal a lot of damage overall. It is strong to electric, flying, and steel. So one of my negatives in kind of going through this is Raikou is not our strongest attacker. That is still going to be G-Max Toxtricity for electric, as Dynamax Raikou only has electric right now. But its combination of attack, defense, and stamina does make it an interesting hybrid tank for lightning overall in general. And if you're facing electric, flying, and steel, its high 195 defense and stamina 207 means it can also heal a little bit, and a pretty high attack. So we've got some good stats overall. It's just not, it's a jack of everything, but master of none. But it's probably our best electric healer right now. But healing is going to get kind of turned on its head with Chansey coming soon. But for the Rage, you are looking for a 1972 CP for a hundo. Raikou, sorry, only has 2 fast moves, and honestly, if you use it as your unit, you only want to use Thundershock as a fast move. Volt Switch is way too slow at 1.5 seconds. So for Raikou, it does have a 0.5 second move, which definitely does lead it into a very positive hybrid attack tank role. Personally, with electric tanks, I'm going to be using Raikou primarily. Toxtricity might be also one of those choices, but I'd rather use Raikou first at the very least, because 0.5 seconds Thundershock and G-Max Toxtricity is just more important to have your max HP and shields up. But going against Raikou, it has 4 moves. 3 of them honestly aren't super scary. Thunder, Thunderbolt, and Wild Charge, they all have roughly the same power. But Shadow Ball throws a huge curveball everywhere. Shadow Ball is something that will take out Excadrill if you're not careful. While Thunder, Thunderbolt, Wall Charge, the tanks that I'm going to be using, they're all very good against Electric, but they don't have any resistance against Ghost. And with that, we are going to see some pretty challenging results overall. But first, let's go take a look at Raikou's damage capability. And this is why I say not the most exciting unit, but we have to think more than just damage with Raikou. So if we take a look here, and we are the table to the lower right here, we are assuming a level 3 max attack with a 15 attack IV. In my description below, I've taken a look at a lot of IVs. 10 to 15 only does about 3% overall. So even if you have a 10 attack IV, your unit is going to be better than any of the 15 IVs that are rated below it. There's no real reason to worry about IVs over than true min-max. And yes, I know that's the main part of this game, is min-maxing everything that you can. But if you're taking a look at here, Gmax Toxicity, because of its Gmax power, is going to out damage the other 4. And I only focus on the transformation damage because honestly, that's where you're going to do 90 to 95% of your damage. And that's where you're really going to win or be broken, is can you do enough transformation damage in time to be able to beat it before it gets angry, basically, and one-shots you. With that, Dynamax Toxicity is the weakest. Raikou and Zapdos are roughly equal, with Zapdos being slightly stronger, but Zapdos is weaker as a defensive unit. So therefore, I would rather stick with Raikou as my hybrid tank, and then I have Gmax Toxicity as my nuker. As you can see, because of Gmax, it's just way too powerful for everyone else. Now, this is going to be the first time that I predict rough damage. This is very much a work in progress. I have been videotaping some of my own battles, trying to get the damage and to figure out the attack. I have made a lot of assumptions here. I do not have the hard code data to prove that the attacks of Raikou for when we're fighting them in the battle is correct, but I have based it off 2 other battles that I have done and been able to mimic their attacks. They should be accurate within plus or minus a couple of HP, but I am planning on using this data to help improve later on as well. So take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, but this is my first opportunity to show some of the work that I've been doing in the background for y'all. And here are our best tanks. So if your Raikou is only using electric damage, Excadrill by far is the best tank overall. You can see that it is taking about 5 to 8 less damage overall. At level 40, which is where I highly suggest all of you try to get these Pokemon to for when you bring them to battle, along with the level 3 attack and level 3 shields. You can see here at the 15 IV defense that at level 40 here, Shadow Ball does a massive 115 damage. And the main reason is Excadrill does not have that much overall defense. It is a glass cannon with some very, very nice resistances, which you can see over here. And then with Thunder, Wild Charge, and Thunderbolt, it is only dealing 45, 41, and 36 damage overall, which a level 3 shield at 60 HP will be able to absorb easily without any problems. And if you look at the difference between a 10 IV defense and a 15 IV difference, you're really only looking at 2 HP difference on all the Thunder moves and 4 HP difference. So defense does not play a very large role. And this is one of the things that I kind of stress out people. If you can only do 2 or 3 and you only catch 2 or 3, don't worry that your IVs are poor. Focus on one unit because you're not really turning the tides a great deal with IVs. Yes, we all want hundos, but just try to focus on the one thing that you're going to be using it for. Excadrill, as I say, you're going to be using it mostly for attack. Venusaur, you're going to be using more for defense. And Rillaboom, you'll be using it as kind of a hybrid overall. But those are the Rillaboom is a lot easier to get. Also, and Excadrill you can get too. But besides that, but if you look at the level, you can see that going from level 20 to level 40 reduces the damage of even Thunder by 15. So instead of having a full shield nullified with the Thunder attack at level 20, you have still a quarter of a shield left over at level 40, let alone the attack increase that you'll also get, which you will see on the next slide on top of it. So, all in all, if Shadow Ball is not being used by the Raikou, Excadrill is by far an easiest tank overall. For Venusaur, though, Venusaur takes a little bit more damage initially, but the Shadow Ball is a lot less dangerous because its defense is so much higher than Excadrill. So at level 40, a 15 IV defense, Venusaur has 81, will take 81 damage at level 40. Thunder is 51, Wild Charge is 46, and Thunderbolt's 41. At level 40, it only takes 6 more HP damage with Thunder, but it takes a whopping 34 less damage than Excadrill. And that's the main reason why a lot of people are like, Excadrill's the best, yada, yada, yada. It is very strong, I do agree, but it has limitations. And so I will show you my ultimate team in a couple of slides, but I just kind of want to show you how I get some of my rankings done. I know, and I understand that I haven't shown this data. And let me just tell you that early on was pretty rough, but now I'm starting to get more confidence to show everybody. And just kind of want to stress that Shadow Ball is going to be very dangerous if you are only bringing Excadrills to the party. My plan is to bring a Venusaur and Excadrill just in case. If it is using Shadow Ball, my Excadrill is going to be used only as an attacker. If it is not, it will be my hybrid defensive tank. For a lot of teams, and this is going to be a team of 4, that we are going to see Excadrills really shine here, and I'm going to highly suggest that if it starts spamming Shadow Balls, it may be better unless if you're in a very large group and you don't have that many power spots to just reset because it doesn't use up your overall max points, and it'll be a lot faster and easier to do so. Finally, we have Rillaboom. Rillaboom's slightly less tankier than Venusaur, and with that, it does take a little bit more damage. But all in all, these are by far the 3 best tanks that we have. I am not bringing in any ghost tanks because that is just not really necessary. And no one else has really good thunder protection. And without that protection, you're going just to take too much damage to be considered a tank. Fortunately, we really only have 2 attackers that will do a lot of damage. One of them obviously is Excadrill, and you're going to be using Mudshot, which is a 0.5 second move. And with that, that is going to give you a nice ground transform attack. Second one is going to be a D-Max Kingler. Do not use a Gigantamax, only use a Dynamax for Kingler. You will have to use an Elite Fast TM, though, for the Kingler to be useful because Mudshot requires that. And I have Greedent here, but Greedent is roughly on average with most of the high-level Pokemon. Like the Inteleons will do about 10% more damage overall than Greedent here. But all in all, your real 2 choices are Kingler and Excadrill. Excadrill is basically almost double as strong as Kingler. So we are just going to kind of focus in on Excadrill as your main attacker. We do have Max Mondays for Excadrill starting today, this Monday. It is really needed for most people in the community to get Excadrill right now if you are planning on doing Dynamax Raikou, as that will simplify this battle so much more compared to pretty much any other unit right now. If you do have Kingler, you can use it. I don't highly suggest it because it requires a elite fast TM, as Mudshot cannot be taught otherwise, and it's still a lot weaker than Excadrill overall and doesn't have as good of a tanking ability as Excadrill either. So up in the upper right hand corner, I do have a link to my Excadrill for the Max Monday. Go take a look if you're having trouble beating the Excadrill. But all in all, it's a pretty easy battle that you should be able to do. Then with that, you take your best one that you can get on either Max Monday or Tuesday, level it up, get it to level 40 with both a max attack of level 3 along with max guard level 3, and you'll be able to help out greatly for Dynamax Raikou. So kind of talked with the overall plan for the Dynamax Raikou. I'm going to be bringing in really 3 units. One of them is going to be my Venusaur. That is going to be the one I start out initially. The Venusaur will take a little bit more damage on all the thunder or electric attacks, but take less damage Shadow Ball. If I see Shadow Ball, my main tank will still be Venusaur. You can replace Venusaur with Rillaboom. That's fine. And personally, you can change your Venusaur to whatever. It doesn't need to be Gigantamax. It can be D-Max, but that is your call. My team is going to be, as I say, Venusaur, Excadrill, and a D-Max Kingler. Excadrill is a second tank, so it still brings in 2 tanks for me. And in case everything goes to Kerplat, or at the very least, I could send out my Kingler to take a attack if needs be. And the Kingler can be the hybrid tank as well. It's not quite as good as Venusaur or Rillaboom, but it will get you there, at least for a while. Kind of depends on what you're planning. I'm probably just going to be using Venusaur for the first transformation. Stick with my Excadrill, and then I'm going to finish with the Excadrill as long as I can. My only concern is Shadow Ball. I will probably move the Venusaur to tank and then my Excadrill to attack as long as my Venusaur has 1 shield on it. And the Kingler is just there just in case. So is Dynamax Raikou worth it for you? And I'm going to be very honest here. It's not going to be used as much as a lot of the other units that we have received before. The best role for it is currently hybrid attack tank for electric and flying. Right now, the best electric tank is Excadrill, but Raikou is very close. Excadrill's just got a huge resistance overall to electric, but Raikou can definitely take the absorption. The only main problem with this strategy is that it can currently only use electric in general. But it is very strong against flying as well. And the best flying tank is Metagross, but Raikou is second, but farther away overall in general. My main plan, though, is to actually use Raikou for candy for max points, just like I use the legendary birds. And a few specific battles, I will be using Raikou as my hybrid attack tank. But in general, this is not the biggest unit to be going after. This is more of a luxury. If your groups can't handle it, it is not the end of the world. If you do not have a G-Max Toxtricity, Raikou is then definitely worth it for you. But besides that, otherwise, it will be something that you're just not going to use a great deal, and you're going to use more for max points candy earning, which Raikou candy is very important, especially for me. I have a hundo that I like to use for raids. And with that, it would be nice to get more candy for all of that as well. With that, that's all I've got. I hope you guys have good hunting this weekend. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave me some comments. Also, please give a like and subscribe, as that greatly helps my channel. You can also reach me when I am live on Twitch at twitch.tv/MadGuru. And the damage for tanks, that is still definitely in its beta. I am planning on using all the data I see below to improve that model for the next time that we do these. And as always, as I said, this is one of the reasons why I promise to get better next time. Bye, everyone.